Okay, I'm going to call the August the 18th county meeting to order. Thank you all for being here. Nice crowd tonight. I'm going to first ask Reverend Bill Homeacre if he would mind leading us in invocation.
Thank you.
And I'm going to ask you if you'll also lead us in the pledge.
Okay. Father, we bless you and praise you for your goodness to us. We thank you, Lord, for your constant mercy and grace in our lives, for the day that you've given us, Lord, a day that you made for us to enjoy, a day for us to serve you. And I just thank you, Lord, for all that you've provided for us in our day. Thank you, Lord, for our government, local government. I thank you for each of those that so wonderfully and diligently serves you in their different capacities. And I certainly thank you for the commissioner tonight and ask that you would guide and direct him as he presents the business of the county before us. Lord, that you give him clarity of thought, that you give him wisdom and direction, and that we would understand more and more the efforts that he takes to make this county one of the best counties in the state. I ask you to bless him and give us wisdom and insight as he speaks, Lord. We just ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Y'all would stand, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You can be seated. I'm a little bit hoarse today. I don't know why. I guess I haven't had a chance to talk. I've been listening to everybody else today. First, going to accept the minutes, the county minutes, July 23rd, 2016. You should have three different copies of minutes. So that's the first minutes. The others are August 4th, 2016. It was a called meeting. Then we had to present the audit to the public. We had our auditors come up and presented that to the public. Then on August the 11th, 2016 was a call meeting to approve a resolution to set the millage rate to lower the millage rate by 1 point. I'll talk about that in a minute. But we lowered the millage rate and set it by that resolution. So I'll hereby approve these three sets of minutes as presented to you. We got a couple of people and groups we're going to recognize here at the early part of the meeting. First, I would like to ask and introduce you to Callie Moore. Callie's sitting on the front row on the left, from the Hiwassee River Watershed Coalition, to explain who they are and what they do for Union County. Callie and I have been friends for many years and once served in the state stream buffer committee. When was that? I was trying to...
2005.
2005. That's when we were trying to fight to maintain a 50-foot buffer and prevent them from taking it to a 100-foot buffer. And we all worked together. We had a nice committee, and we all worked together and was able to do that. I'm proud of it. She will be giving you an update on the Hiwassee River watershed. Will you please come up and talk to us?
I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight to tell you a little bit about the Hiwassee River Watershed Coalition. The main set of handouts I'm going to be using are the ones with all the photos. So if you didn't get one, there's still some more back on the table, or you can maybe share with your neighbor if somebody next to you has one. The Hiwassee River Watershed Coalition is a 20-year-old conservation nonprofit organization that works in a 4-county area, which is Townsend Union here in North Georgia and Clay and Cherokee counties over in western North Carolina. Roughly those 4 counties, and there's another handout that has kind of a map of the coverage area, include all the waters that flow into the Hiwassee River at the Tennessee-North Carolina state line. So pretty much all of the streams in Union County go either into the Nottely River or the Toccoa River. And both of those rivers flow north and ultimately end up in the Hiwassee River at some point, either in North Carolina or Tennessee. So that land area that drains to a common point is what's known as a watershed. And so a lot of times you'll hear people talk about a watershed and they're meaning a public water supply area. But a watershed is actually a much more general term that just defines an area that drains, an area of land that drains to a common point. And so our mission is to sustain good water quality in rivers, lakes, and streams in that watershed area, which is the Upper Hiwassee River watershed. And so anything that goes on the landscape has the potential to impact water quality, either positively or negatively. And so all the activities that go on the landscape, the coalition has the potential to be involved in. Now, I know all this is sounding like an environmental organization, and we are an environmental organization, but we are not your typical environmental organization in the state of Georgia. We are not river keepers. We're not funded by the Riverkeeper Association. We don't have any lobbyists. We don't have any lawyers on staff. We don't sue people. We don't raise Cain about issues. We don't come to meetings and be disruptive and create chaos. What we do is we work with private landowners, local governments, other organizations, any partner we can find to tackle the problems that we have in our watershed in order to sustain good water quality. Okay, and so we do that through basically 4 major program areas, and there's 5 here because we kind of split out streams and lakes. So I'm going to briefly go through each one, and then I'm going to tell you as I go what we're doing in Union County specifically, because we do cover that 4-county area. I'm the executive director. We have 2 other staff members, and our office is in Murphy, North Carolina, kind of at the bottom of everything as it's draining out of the state of North Carolina. But like I said, we do work in all 4 counties, even though we have that one office. So the first program is monitoring program. And without the monitoring program that the coalition runs and operates, we would only have data from 4 locations in Union County from the state. And then we would have 2 locations in Lake Nottely from TVA. And those state sites are only sampled on a 5-year rotating basis. So every 5 years, we would have water quality data from 4 locations in Union County. Okay. Is that enough information to know whether we have good water quality or not?
No.
I think the answer is no. So we have a 2-pronged program at the coalition. One is a staff monitoring program. And so the staff monitors using meters and professional equipment in watersheds that are a high priority for us in terms of, like, we've determined that there are impacts there. So in Union County, we've actually determined that there are some impacts to Lake Nottely, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But our primary watershed is the Butternut Creek watershed. And of course, Butternut Creek flows through downtown Blairsville. It starts kind of over in the eastern part of the county and flows through farmland and residential areas and then gets into a more urban environment. So there are a lot of water quality impacts because of the developed nature of the watershed. And I'll talk more about that in just a minute as well. So we have some staff monitoring sites in Union County because of these watersheds. But we also have a volunteer monitoring program. And so volunteers are trained by us through the Georgia Adopt a Stream program, which is a statewide program in the state of Georgia. And so people just like yourselves go out and sample sites in Union County every month, and they enter their data into a computer database, and you can go in there right now, it's all online, and call up, pick the sites tab and call up Nottely River, and it will show you the sites that are being monitored. It will tell you the data. And as of 2 years ago, thanks to Commissioner Harris, we are sampling E. coli at all these sites as well. So we're not just sampling dissolved oxygen and temperature and conductivity and things like that that are also important to interpreting what's going on in the watershed, but we actually have bacterial data, and it's very exciting. And so we can always use more volunteers, and we're going to be having a training towards the end of September. So if you're interested in that, the cost is completely free. We have equipment here in Union County in Blairsville, again, thanks to Union County for giving us a little closet in the old nursing home where people can come in and check out their data and run their samples. And so it's very easy to do, and I promise you can be trained. So across the whole 4-county area, we have now a total of 58 monthly monitoring sites. It says 55 on the sheet, but we had another workshop in May, and we actually added 3 more sites with new volunteers from that workshop. So in addition to the staff monitoring and the volunteer monitoring, this year we've had a really exciting partnership with a student at Young Harris College. Her name is Nicole Abney, and she lives here in Blairsville, and she is a senior environmental science major at Young Harris. And she decided to do her senior project on Butternut Creek and bacterial levels in the creek. So she has been doing much more intensive bacterial monitoring at 4 stations along the creek, and she's going to be writing up all those data and looking at the land use and developing her senior project, which involves a report. When she gets finished, and we've been working with her on that so that we can then use her data to develop a watershed plan for the Butternut Creek watershed. And what that will allow us to do is to go out and get grants to actually manage stormwater, work with farmers to maybe fence out livestock and provide alternative watering, work on bank stabilization, stream bank stabilization projects, possibly even help low-income residents repair or replace leaking and failing septic systems. And these are all the kinds of things that we've done in other watersheds where we've determined that there are these impacts. The second program is the restoration program, and the next 2 pages of the handout talk about restoring streams and restoring lakes. So the majority of the stream restoration work that has gone on so far, again, we look at our whole 4-county area and we determine where the priorities are and where the different needs are. And so for stream restoration and the bank erosion type of efforts, Brasstown Creek and the Valley River over near Murphy and Andrews, North Carolina, have been our 2 highest priorities over the past 15 years. So the majority of the information and data that you see there have been in those 2 watersheds. However, we have done some smaller projects, and most recently in Union County, we worked with Trout Unlimited. We partnered with the Chattahoochee-Nantahala chapter of Trout Unlimited to do some work along Wolf Creek at the Byron Herbert Reese Farm Heritage Center. And so that's just one of the recent projects that's gone on in Union County there. As far as the lake restoration program, again, the highest priority, we have 4 major reservoirs, including Notley, in that 4-county area. And the highest priority has been Lake Chattooga. Lake Chattooga has many more impacts than any of the other lakes, although Notley does have some of the similar issues, just not to the extent that Chattooga has. So the problems with Chattooga, and to a lesser extent Notley, have to do with excess nutrients, things like nitrogen and phosphorus, that are, again, running off the landscape from various activities that we have going on and creating an increase in algae concentrations. Now, in neither lake can you see big mats of algae, thankfully, okay? So that's what we're trying to prevent. So how we know algae is increasing is the dissolved algae. It's you actually have to take a water sample and analyze it to be able to see these algae concentrations. But the higher they get, then eventually you will see blooms of algae, like many of you have seen in other lakes, I'm sure, particularly more to the south of us. And so the nutrient reduction measures that we've been doing over in the Lake Chattooga watershed, primarily in Towns County, are set to prevent that algae from increasing to levels that make the lake, such that we don't want to use it as humans. Not that it's really going to hurt us, but you don't want to have to stop every 5 minutes and dig algae off your boat motor and stuff like that. You don't really want to swim in it. It's not really good for tourism. So those same sorts of things are things that we'll be doing in the Lake Notley watershed as we kind of transition from Chattooga over towards Notley. And there's more information, of course, about all of this on our website, which is www.hrwc.net, and it's on the other handout as well, if you want to pick that up on the way out. The third program is our education program, and we have both adult education programs and youth education. Our primary youth education program has been our Summer Creek program, and we've been having that, one of those in Union County every summer at Meeks Park. And it's a day-long camp for middle school age children that goes through kind of all the different aspects of a stream in terms of, they look through microscopes at the microscopic organisms and They sample to find the aquatic insects that live on the bottom of stream, and then Jim Wentworth from the Forest Service comes and brings the electroshocker, and they find fish, and they weigh them and measure them and identify them, and we talk about, you know, all the issues that can impact stream life. We also participate at the Georgia Mountain Research and Education Center every year with their environmental education field days, doing a water quality exercise with that. And we respond to requests from teachers to go into schools or to do outdoor lesson plans with students in the schools that way. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, and this year we also, again, partnering with Trout Unlimited, we helped with an education event that corresponded with their Trout in the Classroom program, where they put the trout back in the stream. We kind of helped with some educational programming related to that. The last program is called Connect, and it is focused on improving public access. And we had gotten a grant for our North Carolina portion of the watershed in 2014 to develop a plan for improving public access. And as we started to do that and started working with TVA, Kimmy Garrett was like, well, what about Union County? What about Cummings County? You know, can't we do some stuff there too? And of course, the grant for the plan was initially focused just on the North Carolina counties. But obviously, we were very supportive of, you know, expanding that once we had turned in the report to include all four. And that's kind of when he started working with Lamar and Union County to develop the access and the trails below the dam. And then that led to the awesome trails that are up at the, down at that end of the lake. So it's been great, and we have actually made a lot of headway in North Carolina. There was very little access to the rivers, pretty good for the lakes, but working with Wildlife Resources Commission in North Carolina, we've opened 3 new access points over the past 3 years. And we also work to get people out, so we have an outings program. We have an active hands-on volunteer program, so like if you're into planting trees, removing invasive plants, helping with these erosion control projects, we definitely can use your help. And we have a mailing list for that you can get on and be notified of events that are happening. We also host a really cool program called Alternative Spring Break. So this generation of young people is very into service, and they, instead of going off to the beach for their spring break, which is what I did when I was in college, they pay to go on a service trip. So we have been very successful at recruiting college, university students to come for a whole week. They work with our restoration program, they remove invasive plants, they plant trees, they help with maintenance, they pick up litter. And so all of these restoration projects that we've completed every March, we call it March Madness because we have 4 weeks of college students here that we're hosting and providing lunches for them and working them out at work sites. And it's a lot of fun, but we get pretty much all of our project maintenance done in that 4-week period of craziness. So it's really neat. And again, we have, if you're interested in what schools are coming, we have a yearbook now on our website. You can go through and see the different schools that have been participating. And we have many schools that come back year after year, so that's a lot of fun too. We are, as I mentioned in the beginning, we are a nonprofit organization. So what that means is just like civic clubs and things like that, our primary source of funding is through private donations, membership dues, fundraising events, contributions, designated or undesignated. That forms the bulk of how we pay our salaries, how we pay our light bill, and so forth. We do get some operating support, small amount, from some government entities, including Union County, but we could never survive on government money, and quite frankly, that's not our goal. Our goal is for the people in the watershed. We call it clean water for you, by you. Our goal is for everybody to pull together to fund the work of the organization, to participate in the work of the organization, so that we can continue to have the high quality water that for the most part we have today. There's also a green sheet out there. It has events that are coming up. We do have a fundraiser coming up on September 1st at Crane Creek Vineyards. If any of you are interested in that, I actually have tickets, so you can see me, and I'll give you some. We have a fun flat water canoe kayak trip on Appalachia Lake, which is a almost like a wilderness lake in Cherokee County. Most people don't even know it exists, but it's really beautiful, and there's a very short hike to a waterfall that's kind of incorporated with it. And then also, the next big thing that I want to tell you about is the State of the Water and annual meeting. So every year I give a presentation about what the water quality impacts are in the four-county area. I give you an update on what our monitoring data is showing, and I talk about what our priorities for projects are going to be in the coming year. And there's an opportunity at that meeting for the participants to give us feedback on what you would like to see us be working on. And so this meeting rotates around the four-county area, and this year it's going to be in Union County at the nice, I call it the new, it's not really all that new anymore, I guess, community center. And so the main focus will be on Union and Fannin County waters at that meeting this year. So I would encourage all of you to attend. It is free, and you will learn a lot more details about what the water quality impacts are and what we're doing to sustain good water quality. So be sure and invite your friends to that. That's Tuesday, October 25th at 5:30 p.m. at the Union County Community Center. So I don't know if I'm supposed to ask questions at this point, but I'll hang around. Yeah, so you can see me after if you have questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mark, can we ask a question of this young lady?
Go ahead, I was gonna wait till we're through. Go ahead, Laura.
Oh, okay.
No, go ahead right now. Be fine.
We as cattlemen are concerned about the applications of fertilizers and
Mhm.
things like that.
Mhm.
Now, this meeting that you're talking about
Mhm.
that's coming up, to what degree are you going to talk about that?
A very high degree. Yep. Hope to see you there.
Very good. Okay, the second item is going to be a presentation. I'd like to introduce, in 2010, we passed the alcohol referendum, and I made the commitment to set aside $50,000 each year from the alcohol license fee and tax receipts to put back into the community for the purpose of helping to combat the alcohol and drug abuse problems that had already existed in the county before this happened. Up to $15,000 was committed to our own Union County Anti-Drug Coalition, which I'm sure you've heard of and about. This left funds for local grants. The call went out in the newspaper, and this will be the, I think, the fifth year in a row, fourth or fifth, for local private nonprofits to apply for a grant for whatever particular field they work with the alcohol and drug problems. We have a committee set up to review the applications and award the grants. These grants have been made available for the past 4 years. The committee has done an excellent job, and I commend the committee highly for the time they have spent in selecting recipients, but the committee wishes to remain anonymous. I personally had no input to what organizations received the grants. We are awarding 3 grants out of the 3 organizations that applied this year, and tonight we have the recipients and the grants here. We would like to recognize them at this time, and I'm going to ask them just to give you a brief synopsis of what their actual group does. I hereby awarding substance abuse grants to the following local organizations, and I'll just start one at a time with Freedom Ministries. Joe's going to be here representing Freedom Ministries. If you'll just say just a few words, Joe, about what your group does.
All right.
Before you talk, let's look over there and we'll get a picture. Let's turn this way. We'll get one over there first.
Thank you. Like I said, I'm Joe Dyer. I'm co-founder, co-director of Freedom Ministries. Robert Spivey, my started this program 8 years ago here in Union County. And at present, we work closely with drug court, and we do 2 meetings a week. Right now, we're at 25 to 30 participants per meeting. And it's been, this grant has gone a long ways with us and our program. Very few people at this point, they've burnt most bridges and can afford very little for any type of recovery. And this grant goes a long ways for our program to be able to help these people. We've had a successful program. I feel like we do real well. We've had some good results. The last drug court graduation just a few weeks ago, they had 4 of the 7 that graduated were regular attenders at our program. We're very proud of that. And we just appreciate the county's help. We intend on keep doing what we're doing, just try to help folks overcome their struggles and do better. Thank you, guys.
I want to just mention just a minute about the drug accountability courts that we have in Union County. And I went to graduation, as he said, been about a month. Downstairs, there was probably participants, there was probably 50, 60 participants in the room, family members, and I think each 6 months, or is it each quarter they have a graduation?
I think it's
6 months. But the folks in that class have to be there for 2 years. They go through intensive counseling and intensive testing, and they have to be clear for 2 years before they can get to that graduation. And it's amazing and incredible to be there and see that. It's a tearjerker too, because you got these people. One guy at this last meeting was 49 years old, and I may be a little off on this, but I think he's been in jail 35 of the last 49 years. Wow. And he, after all this time, finally gotten himself straight. Everybody there seemed to really like him and appreciate him. His daughter was there with him. It's the first time they're seeing their father sober, and his daddy was there, who looked like he was probably close to 90. And so it was a real. And I just happened to be sitting in the back. I try to be kind of nonchalant, hiding in the back, and they just ended up sitting right beside me. I didn't know who they were, and there was I think 6 others that particular night that graduated, and they all get up and tell their story, and it really is incredible what's being done with the rehab in the state of Georgia. Governor Deal really got that started and has pushed it, and the legislature's come up with the funding for it. And it's when it first started, I'll tell you, I was real apprehensive because we were the funding agency, so the money for the 4 counties comes through us. And when I saw some of that money going out, I thought, man, no way this is going to be a waste of money and another boondoggle. But I tell you, I was found wrong, and I'm sure I'm glad of it, because it's really a great program. So I didn't mean to digress. Our Ministries, HOUR, you'll come on that, Roger Lambert. You wasn't ready? I told everybody, but you didn't. Go ahead, and we'll get a picture. Let's talk.
I was not ready for this. My name is Roger Lampert. I am with Our Ministries. Our stands for Helping Others Understand Recovery. We're a nonprofit. I'm based in Towns County, but I host a Smart Recovery meeting here in Union, made possible by the graciousness of Lamar and Commissioner Lamar Paris and his staff have just been a tremendous help to me. I'm just the byproduct of the incredible effort of other people I'm fortunate enough to be able to offer SMART to this area. SMART stands for Self-Management and Recovery Training. And we base ours on, we help gain independence from any type of addictive behavior. We generally teach 4 points in SMART recovery. First one is building and maintaining motivation, which is very important for anyone in recovery, either short-term or long-term. Point 2 is we help people with tools to cope with urges, which seems to be one of the biggest failure points of any recovery effort. Point 3 is we help people manage their thoughts and their feelings and their behaviors. We do that with remote emotive. There's a whole set of exercises that we can teach people in recovery that'll help them overcome these urges which creep up on them and take over. And fourth thing that we try to do is help people to establish some sort of balanced lifestyle. We try not to emphasize too much in one particular area and lack in another. This is all in line with the SAMHSA's goals for what makes a successful recovery. And one of those points is, of course, your health. Without your health, and that goes back to abstaining, getting on proper diet, nutrition, taking care of yourself, going to doctors, dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety, all these things that cause triggers to make you go backwards instead of maintaining a stable rhythm. The second thing is home. We emphasize that a happy home, or at least a stable home, does a lot to quell the urges to go out. The second thing is, the third thing we try to do in line with the government's mandates on recovery is we try to make people understand that they have a purpose, and that is one of the things that is lacking totally in a lot of different areas. Is they have those purposes been set aside. They don't see the future, and what they do is once that starts to stumble, then they start to backslide and back up. We encourage them to find their purpose, no matter what it is. And of course, the fourth thing is we try to get people involved in their community. A community is no more than individuals just living in the same area. So what we encourage people to do is to get to know other people in the community, join civic groups, join recovery efforts, go to SMART meetings, go to AA meetings, do anything that you possibly can to become a part of that. Because as you become a part of it, you begin to own it. And once you begin to own it, you begin to change it. And once you begin to change it, you begin to accept that recovery is just no more than just living a balanced lifestyle, abstaining from wild and crazy behavior. I want to thank Commissioner Parris. Thank you so very much. I want to thank Jennifer Queen, who's been tremendous in advising me and guiding me, and the staff that surrounds these two people. I'd like to thank the many people. Steve Slump, my vice president, has been with me since the first. We started this together. And there's several other people that I work with weekly that come and we work out different things. And the more information I have, the more I can help the people that come see us. We have a SMART Recovery meeting every first and third Monday at Pat Harrelson. And there's also on the second and fourth Wednesdays at the Red Cross building in Hiawassee. This grant money will provide additional 3 meetings, I'm hoping, for Union County, family and friends, a woman's meeting, and an additional meeting to complement what we already have. I thank you so very much, and I hope that covered everything. Thank you.
dig them back this way.
Oh, thank you.
Last but not least, I'll ask Troy Beavers with New Hope Counseling to come up. They're our oldest organization and may have the oldest leader who's older than me. So, he's got more gray hair simply because he has more hair.
That wasn't a very flattering introduction. So I'm with New Hope Counseling. New Hope Counseling started in 2005 when Lamar and Tom Watkins were able to secure a grant from SAMHSA for the treatment of methamphetamine. At that time, methamphetamine was a bigger problem. It's still a problem today, but it was a much bigger problem then. It was a 3-year grant, and during that 3 years, we were able to treat a lot of folks. We had sufficient funding, and we are located in the old hospital nursing home. For any of you old timers, it's in Dr. George Gowder's old office. But in 2008, the grant was not renewed. So we were challenged with sustainability to keep our program going. And it has been a challenge since then. And Lamar has graciously continued to provide us with the space, and this money here is really instrumental in keeping us afloat. The way we were able to sustain ourselves, we are now certified through the Department of Behavioral Health and the Division of Driver Services and the Commission on Domestic Violence, and we provide alcohol and drug counseling. We're similar to the drug court, but we're much less formal. We work very closely with the legal system. We also have, just last year, we started a DUI risk reduction school, which has been most helpful. We do not bill insurance, we do not bill Medicaid. Our only funding comes from Lamar and from our clients. It's a desperate situation if you're an addict in Union County. Most addicts, by the time they get to the point they reach treatment, they usually come through the legal system. Because what has happened is they have exhausted all their resources. And so when they're looking for a place to come, New Hope is one place that they can come. I just got to share this story with you because this is a specific example of really what we're able to do. Now we do groups, we have mandated groups, we are certified for that. We do the Prime Solutions, we do the Prime for Life, we have the Family Violence Intervention course, and all of these are structured courses that we do, and they really help keep us afloat. But we don't turn anybody away, and what you find is that there are a lot of people out there that's very desperate. And the reason this just comes to mind because yesterday, when I went into the office, I got a phone call from this gentleman, and he said that he needed some help. And I talked with him. I spent, and this person, I don't know. I knew this person's name and his date of birth. That's all I know. So, but he proceeded to tell me that he had been sober for 1.5 years. He was detoxed at Laurelwood in Gainesville. He had been sober for 1.5 years, and his wife died. Shortly after his wife died, his house burned. And he had 2nd and 3rd degree burns. And he was hospitalized for a month. When he got out of the hospital, he came home and his only friend was his 12-year-old dog, which died. He told me that he had health insurance, and he said that he had been to the hospital up here at Union County. He spent 6 hours up here at the hospital. He was told at Laurelwood that there were no beds, and so he came back home. And I got to talking with him, and I've worked in this field for a very long time, so we got to talking about his situation, and we got to talking about suicide. And working at, I've spent some time, I worked at Laurelwood, and I've spent some time dealing with suicide prevention and talking with suicidal. And as I got to talking with him, he clicked off all of the suicide. He was over 40, he had nobody, and I got to talking. He said, I have a .38 revolver right here in the bedroom. It's loaded. This man was ready to kill himself. So I called Laurel Wood, and I worked there, so I've got some relations down there, and I talked with the intake down there, and they told me that there were no beds. And I said, well, I know there's no beds. There's never any beds at Laurelwood, but I also know that it's 9 o'clock, 9:30, and I know Dr. Black will be going through and he'll be discharging some people. So, and I also know you don't hold beds. But would you not hold one of those beds for this gentleman here? So I convinced him to go to Gainesville. He went to Gainesville. When he got to Gainesville, he went to the hospital at Laurelwood. And the girl's name that I had referred him to was Carla Jordan. Well, they told him that there they didn't know Carla Jordan. He calls me back on the cell phone. I says, you're at the wrong place. You're at Laurelwood. You need to be at the emergency room. That's where the intake is. So, and I called Carla on the phone, and Carla said, I'll take care of it. So they were able to get him in. He was admitted yesterday to the hospital. This man would have killed himself. I firmly believe that this man would be dead today had it not been for our ability to intervene. Now, we don't have that good a success rate a lot of times, and we don't do a lot, but that's really the heart and soul of what we do. We have our program, and we turn people around. We have a mandated program. I spend hours talking with parents that have children that are addicted to drugs, and they don't know what to do. And that's one part of what we do, and I think that's really the most effective part of what we do, because here was this gentleman. He was well educated. He had good health insurance, but he would have blown his brains out simply because there is no real mechanism to treat addiction. If you are addicted to a drug or to alcohol and you need detox, you're in trouble. You are in serious trouble. But that's what we do. We do that. But as far as our mandated program, we work very closely with probation. We work with parole. And if someone gets arrested, if you get a DUI in Union County, you're probably going to see some staff at my office, because we do there's a minimum sentence if you get a DUI, and we are the only agency in town that is certified by the Division of Driver Services to provide those services. So, and our philosophy is mandated treatment does work. You know, you've heard the saying, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Well, if it stands there long enough, it'll get thirsty. So what we do is, our program is people will be mandated to our treatment. They have, but we do drug testing. If they fail a drug test, they have to come more frequently, and they may have to go to jail. If they don't show up, they may have to go to jail, because probation will pick them up. It's a violation of their probation. But when we're not finished, when they get out, they come back to us. And that we keep that process going, hopefully, until finally they realize, and we have excellent Margie Harkins, Shanna Prather, we have excellent staff up there that are very effective at what they do. We charge a fee. We charge $95 for evaluations, which is what the state requires us to charge. We charge $20 an hour for our group meetings. But if you're mandated to come to if you get 2 DUIs, well, if you get 1 DUI, you have to go to DUI school. If you get 2 DUIs, you have to have a clinical evaluation, and you have to come 17 weeks, 3 hours a week. We charge $20 an hour. But our philosophy is, once you complete your mandated treatment, you're allowed to come as long as you want to for free. We have one gentleman that last week was his 575th group. So, and our existence, without Lamar, this money here, and without him providing us the space, we would have closed our doors a long time ago. We have been down to where we had $120 in the bank. And so, but we have able to, and this money here is instrumental, because it enables us to keep, and we scholarship. What happens with us, what we do with this money is, if someone has, say they don't have their driver's license, they have to get, they have to get an evaluation. This money goes directly for client fees. What we do is we scholarship people. We do drug testing for the Humane Society. We scholarship that for employee drug testing. And we scholarship a lot of group meetings. We scholarship evaluations. And we have a criteria for that. You have to be indigent, which most of our folks are. Medicare, Medicaid, and insurance just doesn't pay for the services that we provide, so we make no effort to build that. So we can keep our doors open. Had it not been for this money, we've been fortunate enough to get these grants for the last few years, and it has allowed us to keep our doors open, and it will allow us to keep our doors open. And Lamar doesn't really realize it, but this week he saved a life. Because if it hadn't been for him and keep being able to keep this program going, and that's just one, you know, it doesn't happen every day, but it is rewarding. And we have people come by that we haven't seen, you know, they've been maybe 3 or 4 years, and they come and say, I just want to thank you for being here. You know, and people will stop in for our group. They'll come in and say, man, I need a little support. And they'll come into our group, and we don't turn anybody away. We also do family violence, and we're certified for the family violence. It's a 24-week program, and we work with SAFE. We have a liaison with SAFE. And we deal with the batterers. We deal with the perpetrators. So if we have and the way this works is, while the batterer is in group, the liaison can call the victim and see if everything's going okay, because a lot of times the perpetrator's right there with the victim, so they're very hesitant to say anything. So we do that, and we do anger management. We have a choice-based 12-week anger management program, and it's a good program too. So once again, I'd like to thank Lamar, and hopefully we can keep our doors open another year. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. I didn't really pay him to say anything like that. Should have.
Well, I was going to say something negative to you about those age comments. Great.
But I really get more credit than I should. You know, I do this on behalf of you. It's money that the county receives, so it's really not me. It's us working to improve the lives of a lot of people. The rest of this is going to go pretty quick now, so we're already on the long side, so this will be pretty short. Item 3 is hereby approve the subrecipient agreement between Georgia Emergency Management Agency, Homeland Security, and Union County, where the state will submit federal funds and state funds to Union County for the flood damage we received on December 22nd, 2015, and January 13th on 2016, where we were included in the federally declared disaster area. Eventually, we hope to receive federal funds to begin creek bank restoration along a portion of the Notley River in Meeks Park 2 and Butternut Creek that meanders through Butternut Creek Golf Course in Meeks Park. Our staff, as soon as you get a public declaration, a federal declaration, and I've read in other newspapers in other counties where they're saying, well, we're going to get X number of dollars for this. And I can tell you it never works that way. And I also tell you it takes weeks and weeks of paperwork. And our staff has been doing that just over and over. But we feel like that we're pretty close. We think we're within 30, 45 days of actually receiving enough to start working on these creek things. Don't know the amount yet, but we're still working on it. Item 4 is a lease agreement. I hereby approve this lease agreement between Union County and the State Properties Commission Office for use of the Department of Driver Services for the office space located on 149 Chase Drive, the amount of $1 annually. The term of this agreement is from July of 16 to June 30th of 17. And of course, this is a small double wide that we have over next to the road department. It provides driver services and driver's license testing for the community, and we're real proud to have them there because it saves a lot of work for a lot of people. And finally, after we have learned how to do that, I say we, you and us, taking the right forms to the driver's license office, it's really become a much faster, quicker, and easier process. Item 5 is I hereby approve this cost share agreement between the USDA, Forest Service, Chattahoochee, Oconee National Forest, and Union County in relation to the Byron Herbert East Connector Trail. USDA agrees to contribute $24,100 to the project for the NEPA analysis, that's the environmental analysis, on a trail project. This is a potential trail that would connect Vogel State Park to the Reese Farm. There are several studies that must be completed before this can happen. And that's some of the environmental studies. Some of them we like, some of them we're not so excited about. Take a long time.
Like the turtles.
Item 6, capital purchases. I hereby approve this list of capital purchases of more than $5,000 from January 1st through June of 2016. So every 6 months, we're required by our auditors to produce this list and have it available. If anybody were to want a copy of it, we have it in the office tomorrow. It also will end up being on the, I'm not sure if it's on our website or not, but it's available in our office if anybody wants to see one. Item 7 is posting the financial statement as required by Georgia Law 36-1-6. We're posting the financial statement for the period ending December the 31st, 2015, in the courthouse for a period of 30 days. This is an old archaic law, and I think we're about the only county in Georgia that still posts this financial statement. We had a constituent complain that we were not following the letter of the law a few years ago, so ever since then we post this, and then every 30 days we take it up. It's also available on the state website and the county audit, and I don't know any, there's probably a few other places, so it's really no big deal, but we do it. I'm having to reschedule a county meeting, which I hate to do, but I occasionally do. Due to my being out of town on the next county meeting date, we will be moving to September the 15th on Thursday, back 2 days to September the 13th on Tuesday. So you guys will remember that. We're going to, not the regular Thursday, we're backing it up 2 days. So we'll have it on Tuesday the 13th instead of Thursday the 15th. And number 9, I hereby approve this business license issued to Michael Kolody, Kolody, Kolody Rental, located at 540 Bruce Mountain Road in Blairsville, Georgia. This is the only type of license that the county requires, and it's a hotel motel tax license, so anybody having a rental unit has to have that. And the commissioner comments, I want to cut them a little short, but this year we continue to be a record-setting year in terms of sales tax receipts, hotel motel tax collection, home construction, tourist visitation, and much more. Our manufacturing plants are also having record-breaking years, with the largest problem for them maintaining adequate employee base. If anybody cannot get a job in Union County, it's their fault, because there are jobs out there. They might not be the best, not always the best one, although these plants have some of the really great jobs. We're currently working with North Georgia Technical College in hopes of helping secure funding for another addition to their facility. If you remember this last year, they added the nursing program and health services to their building, and we're now trying to get an addition to the backside of the building, some property that the county donated them actually for the health services, and they decided to move it to the front side. And this will be a facility to include a machine and welding shop with CNC computer operated lathes and machining tools. This is a very exciting prospect for us, something that has been needed for years. It takes a lot of grants and applications, but we feel that with all the county economic development efforts, this is an outstanding achievement when and if it happens. We're real positive that this is something that it'll probably take a couple of years, but we've got to start somewhere, and so we're excited about it. One of of our current manufacturing plants has already expanded their facility in the industrial park. They've added a 8,000 square foot addition, heat treated plant, corrugated replacements. And Advanced Digital Cable is in the industrial park. They are completely out of space. They've got a 105,000 square foot building, that largest building in the park. They are considering doubling their space. And we're working with them in every way possible to see that happen. And it's, a lot of it is due to solar energy. They have a special kind of wire that they produce that's part of the solar energy revolution. Whether you like it or not, that's what they do. And so they're really expanding their business opportunities. It's been a good year. We presented our audit last time. We had one of the best audits the county's ever had. Our reserve fund gone from 3-year, 2.7 year up to 4.8 years. I'm sorry, not years, months. That's how you base your reserve, is in months of operation capital. And you try to have a minimum of 2 months. We worked for a long time to get to 3, and now we're up to 4.8. And we'll get to 5.5 months, and anything past that, we're going to start getting that back to the taxpayers, which we're doing this year. And we just set our millage rate in one of these meetings, and we lowered our millage rate a 1/10 of a mil. It's not a lot, but it's in the right direction. If we can have another positive year like this for another year, I hope we'll be able to do more. We're real excited about, I was talking with the contractors today, actually 2 of them. One of them's a truck driver, and he just cannot keep up with all the work that they're doing. One is a heavy equipment operator, and he's trying to find help, needs some more equipment. They're just all going great guns, and it's not, we're at a level that's not, I'm not worried about it being a bubble yet. We're not at the bubble, but if it gets a whole lot much more, we will be. So we're hoping that what we've got now will kind of level off at that rate. We're going to be at 100, probably about 140 new homes this year. That's a lot of homes in a small county. That's probably going to be in slightly less than 1% growth. If we can stay within 1.5% growth, that'll allow our people our shops and everybody to have business, to prosper, but it'll also help keep us from getting overpopulated too. I did have a lady contact me this week. She had just moved here, and she said, I love it here, but I'm real concerned because there's a lot of traffic here now. And she said, I don't want it to get like, she said, Roswell. She said, I don't want it to get like Roswell. And I sent her a note, and I said, well, ma'am, the bad thing about making the county better is that, yes, more people want to come here, and yes, we are going to have more traffic, but I said, I assure you we'll never be Roswell. I'll also assure you that, we've got almost 50% of our property is owned by the federal government, one way or the other. So I said, it's going to be hard for us to catch up, and that's a real buffer that we're thankful to have. And I said, in addition to that, we got all these beautiful farms out in the county that people are not building on, so we're really a blessed community to have what we have, and to have the type of people like y'all who care about our community and care what's going on. So at that point, I'm going to adjourn the meeting, and